Hi, Attila. Okay, so what I want to do is obviously show you the capabilities of the Texa, particularly for PwC, but also on the motorbike front. Um, right, the screen you're seeing now, this is the main screen. You can see we're all in 5 different environments, but what we'll do, we'll head into Marine, which is where we'll start. So we click on Marine. Um, then we have a category section, so it's split into inboards, industrial engines and generators, outboard engines, and personal watercraft. Right, so we'll click into personal watercraft. So you can see we've got Honda, Kawasaki, Sea-Doo, and Yamaha. Now Sea-Doo, I have got a demonstration mode, so I can actually take you into looking at the full screen, live data, and so on. Obviously, it's pretend statistics, but at least you can see how the system works. So we'll pick Sea-Doo, that's the most important one for you. So then we're faced with all the models that we can then communicate with. Now I'm going to pick one at random because obviously I don't know which ones you're working on, but we'll pick a GTX S. Okay, so then we're into the global system scan. So that will scan every possible ECU that we can communicate with. You can see underneath you've got diagnosis by system. Now those systems, they are or will be dependent on what the ECU can cope with. But I would suggest that on Sea-Doo in particular we can do a lot of these. So what we do, the global scan, I can't do that now because like I said, we're not actually connected to anything in particular. So on this GTX S, we've got the instrument panel, we've got intelligent brake and reverse, we've got petrol injection, i.e. engine, and we've also got suspensions. Just on the left hand side you can see we've got self-diagnosis that we're in, we've got special functions, maintenance service, and technical data. So we'll get to those in a sec, but to start with, let's go into the engine. Pick from it gives you the year from 11 to 16, and what we'll do, we'll just go to the first. Basically tells you what cable you need to be able to communicate. So we can pick a cable and then go through there. Now I won't do that because again we need to go into a demo mode, but when you're live you would choose which one you need. So what we'll do, we'll hit start, we'll go into demo diagnosis, hit confirm, just click through that screen there. So this will just take a second to populate with the information that Texa have put in the system. Okay, so what it's done is generated, or it's said that there's a fault that we can look at. But also you can see along the top we've got 6 different tabs. So firstly we'll just go into the parameters, so we can look at live data on the engine. Now obviously these are reasonably simple engines, but still there's still a few sensors that we can look at. So what you can see, we've got battery voltage, vehicle speed, intake air temperature, engine temperature, and so on. On the right hand side what we've got is the reading, but also the unit of measure. Now these are what you would see from communication, so the live readings of the engine. Now they're not necessarily the correct readings. On a lot of these down the right hand side here, you would, if there were information within the system, there's a question mark there which would guide you as to what the reading should be. Now you can double click these and they will give you a line diagram, useful if you're trying to monitor a particular sensor and its performance when you're carrying out certain things. You can do that with all of these obviously, and so on, so we'll just double click those back. Now what you've got here is the ability to filter the list. So in case you have 20 different sensors and you only want to look at a few, you can reduce that list to a more manageable amount. Now within that, what we can also do is we can carry out, well, we can save all this information, we can print this information, but we can also record it. So you've got up to a 30-minute record. So particularly if you're heading out on sea trials, you're going to be able to monitor those sensors while you're out and about, just to see where the problem lies. We'll just go back here and unfilter those. Now, back into the fault screen. Basically, Texa works on a traffic light system, so you'd have an amber colour if it were a memory fault, something that's happened in the past that we can potentially erase, whereas this is showing it's an active fault, so an engine detection phase error. It gives you a P code, so again you can start investigating what that might be. Obviously we can clear that at the bottom, we can save it, print it, and so on. Statuses, we've got switches basically, so you can check continuity of circuits. So you can see again there's whether it's installed, not installed, whether it's coded, and so on. We've also got ECU info, so it will read whatever details are on there. We've got total number of engine hours, last service date, hours from the last service. There's a lot of information in there which is again going to be helpful for you, serial numbers and so on. Then we get into activations. Now these are tests that you're going to be able to carry out to test the systems that you're trying to diagnose. So everything from RPM history, you can deactivate cylinders in whichever order you wish. Error cleaning again is in there. History of minimums and maximums. There's ignition coils we can run tests on, injectors. But you've also got key mode history, last minute history, and so on. Then we're into settings. So there's a TPS reset only on this particular ECU. That doesn't, obviously we can go into the other systems and there will be other settings available. That's the generic screen for bike, for personal watercraft, for inboard engines, you name it. It's all the same. So it's the same format. Now just in the bottom right hand corner here, if we had information associated with that particular sensor, for example, this one here is in the bottom right is wiring diagram. So if there was a wiring diagram specific to that sensor fault, you'd be able to click that and it would take you directly to it. Just to the right of it is what we call freeze frame technology. So that's on later engines or later equipment where you can actually see what was going on with the engine when the fault occurred. We've also got a troubleshooting forum here which is web-based for common faults. If a fault occurs more than sort of 10 times around the world, Texa log it and put that information on the forum so you can see what's occurred. Also you've got the question mark, so again if a question mark then appeared within the fault code, you would then be able to see a bit more information about it, what to check for next. So what we'll do, we'll just come back out of that and we'll head to on the left hand side here. So again we could go into instrument panel, we could go into the intelligent brake and reverse, and we could go into the suspensions. Just on the left hand side here, like I said, we've got self-diagnosis, which is always going to be a main port of call, but then we've got special functions, so special adjustments that we can carry out. So you can see we can limit the horsepower of the engine, we can change vehicle configurations, but we can also register keys. So there's a lot of information in there. So for example, we'll click on this because we've actually got a demo on it. You can just see what it's capable of doing. So you can see in here, obviously we've got the ECU info, which we saw earlier, but then we've got the settings that you would be able to carry out. So customer name, display language, unit measurement, engine code writing, VIN number writing. So there's a lot of bits and pieces we can do there. So to give you an idea about the question marks, you can see on all of these we've got question marks, and what it will do, it actually says it's not available for this type of control unit. I'll just see if there's any others on there. Like I said, this is a demo, so no, it's not happy with any of those. Okay, not the best example, but hopefully you understand, you can see what we've got available there. Maintenance service, so again, we've got for models with the service system, so again, it depends on the ECU and the systems that have been built into the unit. So again, we're going to be able to do bits and pieces on that. We've also got technical data sheets here. So you can see how to use the cables. We've got safety measures for the voltage system. We've got a BRP group recovery strategy, registering CDU keys. So this is all the technical data we've got built in. So we can click that, brings up a sheet, and that will then tell you what you can do. Then we've got error codes, for example. So again, related to the throttle valve position sensor. So again, it will tell you all about that fault code and what to do next. Okay, so basically giving you advice on how to start diagnosing what the problem is. CDU key types, again, we've got information. Oh no, we've been on that one. TPS reset, that's something we saw in the demo earlier. So again, when you're removing or replacing the injection control unit, this again tells you how to do that. So there's quite a few bits and pieces on there. We'll head back here. We'll just go back into another model of CDU. Let's pick a wake. So again, similar setup as you can see. We can go into the same systems, but just on the left hand side here we've got wiring diagrams. So we click into here, we've actually got wiring diagrams on the petrol engine. So we can I'll pick one at random. So these are made in-house by Texa. They're all interactive, as you can see as I'm scrolling along. There's a description that comes up, but also on occasion you can see on that one it actually tells you where that component is. And again, we can flick through here, but it's also showing you, if you notice, when you're hovering, you can see the communication line. So again, you can see what's connected, which is going to help your diagnosis. On here, we can click there. We can click on all the items you see, and what we've got a data card here. We've got a connector, manual mode. That's for oscilloscoping, which I'm not sure if you're doing at the moment. But we click on connector, and what that'll do, that'll tell you then the pin configuration for that ECU. Obviously, you know every manufacturer is different and they put their pins in different orders, so that can be very useful for you. Click on that. What we've also got is a data card, so again it's talking about the supply lines, operating principles, identifying elements, electrical characteristics, possible tests that you can carry out, and then again it goes into oscilloscoping. So there's a lot of information there. We've also got device location. So again, when we scroll through here, it's not going to be on everything, but if there is an obvious location for it, it'll then bring up a little red dot so you can see where they are. Again, just on the top here, we can click on the top there, gives us wiring colours, which is going to help you a great deal, but also we've got the legend. So basically, rather than just skimming through the pages, you can identify the item that you want to look at. So for example, we pick the cylinder 3, we click on that, it'll then take us directly to that item, and then you can start looking at how that component works. There's a lot of technical data in the system. Obviously, you can imagine with 5 different environments, there's a lot of information to get into the system. So if there isn't something there, you can speak to Texa and they might be able to obtain it, or at least understand further what you can do. Just going back to the supply lines, again, you've got connection information, which would give you details on, when you click on an item, you can see what the related components are. So at least you can see how it should be working, or what it should be connected to. Okay, we'll just head back out of there. Again, maintenance service system. Let's have a look at this, just see if we'll put it into demo diagnosis so you can see. Okay, so again, similar format. So there's service reset there, there's supercharge reset. So these are, again, settings that you're going to be able to carry out, okay, within the service system. So we'll close that down. And what we'll do, we'll head back to Personal Watercraft again, and we'll go to Yamaha, because again, that was one you mentioned you were sort of working on, some of the later ones. Again, I'm going to take a punt on just one that we can have a look at. So there's a few less options on the left-hand side, but the point is it's a Mitsubishi engine, we will be able to communicate with it. There won't be many engines that you can't communicate with. Obviously, the capability will depend on information we've got in the system. So again, it's not generating any fault codes, but live data, you can see there's quite a few more bits and pieces on here. Engine speed, atmospheric pressure, throttle opening, angle, water temperature, intake air temperature, although they're not showing, but it'll take a little while just to populate. But we can click on that, there's a question mark there, and it will then tell us what the parameter should be. So it should be lower than 90 degrees C. So the demonstration is saying it's about 44, 45 degrees. So you know that that's okay. Same again, intake air pressure, we can click on that, and again it'll give you information on what that should be, so you can make sure the engine's running correctly. Okay. Activation wise, again, we've got a lot of options here. You can look at the engine history, the RPM history. We'll just scroll down slowly so you can see the abilities there. Okay. So just while you're connecting, also you've got access to that technical information. So there's a few bits and pieces in there. For this particular one, obviously, like I said, it depends on which model you're communicating with. But you can see it's more than just a scanner. Yes, it will show all your live readings, but it will also give you the technical backup that you need. So we'll just come out of there. Okay, so again, we've got the four main PwC suppliers. Now what we'll do, we'll just come back out of here and we'll go into bike. And again, you're talking about, you can see under bike we've got motorcycles, personal watercraft, snowmobile and utility quad. Now realistically, if you're just going to go for personal watercraft, it would be sensible just to go with the bike package, because that will then include the personal watercraft and you won't have the inboards, the outboards and so on, but we can obviously discuss what you will be working on. So motorcycle wise, again, you can see we've got an A to Z list of all the models, and like I said, there won't be a model in the world that isn't in here, but depending on our relationship with the manufacturer will determine what we can do on it. So I'll just move down slowly. As you can see, pretty much everything's covered until we get to Yamaha. So we'll click on Yamaha. We'll go for maybe something like an MT-09. Click into there. So we'll go for 2017 onwards. So we'll click through there. So again, similarly, you've got a global scan there which will scan all of these ECUs. I haven't got a demo mode on these, but you understand from looking at the PwC how it works. And just on the left hand side again, you've got special functions, adjustments that we can carry out. There's technical info in there, brake bleeding procedure, diagnosis via the panel or blink code if that is the system on there. So we can see that. Let's just see if we've got a demo mode on one of these Yamahas. No, we don't, unfortunately. But what I'll do, let's pick another model where we can potentially see. We'll go for Ducati. So I'll pick an EU4 Monster 821. Okay, so again, you can see down here we've got a few other bits and pieces. again, service systems, special functions, activations, code and reset. There's also the tension control ability on this one. So yeah. Okay. Again, like I said, with the motorbikes, you would get snowmobile, utility, and quad. It's part of the package, so there's not much we can do about that. So yeah, hopefully that's given you a reasonable overview of what the system is capable of and what's in the system. Okay.